Hi, folks. Welcome back to Crisco's Corner from the Daily Mail. This is great. Nancy Pelosi spectacularly unravels during CNN interview after being asked why she's holding up Trump's $1.8 trillion COVID relief bill after Dem allies told the isolated speaker to accept it. I mean, look at the first bullet point. Speaker of the House Nancy Pelosi accused CNN and Wolf Blitzer of being a Republican apologist in a heated live interview Tuesday. Oh, this is awesome. Blitzer pushed Pelosi to ask why fellow Democrats are calling on her to accept the deal presented last week if it was not adequate. He asked her to look the Americans in the eye and explain why you won't have to accept the president's latest stimulus offer. Hey, little civics lesson, Madam Speaker. The Republicans control the presidency, the executive. They control the Senate. You control the House. You're on the short end. You have to make a deal. That's the way the founders set it up on purpose because they want compromise. It's amazing. She had backed that Blitzer and others on her party doesn't know what they're talking about and not negotiating the deal. Let's get into this because this is really worth it. Speaker of the House Nancy Pelosi slammed veteran CNN host Wolf Blitzer as a Republican apologist in a fiery meltdown on Tuesday. How's it feel, Nancy? How's it like to be a Republican and have 75% of the media? He was just asking legitimate questions. Just legitimate questions. It's amazing. It really is. During the heated live segment on the Situation Room, Blitzer pushed the California Congresswoman to say why she's holding up President Trump's $1.8 trillion relief bill, leaving Pelosi fuming they didn't know what he was talking about. Blitzer hit back by asking why Pelosi's Democrat allies are calling on her to get the deal done, citing the likes of former Democrat presidential candidate Andrew Yang and fellow California Democrat Will Kahana. The 80-year-old speaker also found herself increasingly isolated in recent days as she pushed from within her own party to reach compromise in a deal to bring further economic relief to the American people. They have said that the people struggling as a result of the corona pandemic and the subsequent economic fallout cannot wait until February for another deal to be passed. Wait, it gets really good. I won't play the video because I don't want a copyright strike, but here's the Congressman Roe. God, he's a liberal Democrat from California, but to tell you the truth, I got to give the guy this. He's trying to compromise. And he also voted with the president to pull out of the troops out of the Middle East. So, they're not always wrong. So, I got to be fair. When they do the right thing, you got to say so. Where the potential risk, Democrats could aggressively pursue a COVID relief with Trump, but it's the right thing to do because politics can also work in our favor. I don't know why you're always an apologist, and many of your colleagues, apologists for the Republican position. Pelosi responded as Blitzer. I'm sorry, I'm laughing. Responded as Blitzer mentioned Kahana's comments on the bill. Yeah, the media is always covering for Trump. Seriously? CNN? Ro Kahana, that's nice. That isn't what we're going to do, and nobody's waiting until February. She said she could not accept the Republican deal as it is because of child's tax credits and earned income credits are eliminated. They minimized the need for child care, which is a threat off of which people, mothers, and fathers can go to work if they have it. Let's just scroll down a little bit more here. It's quite long. We know the problem out there, Blitzer interrupted. But there are millions of Americans who have lost their jobs. They can't pay the rent. Kids need the food. And then, of course, she interrupted him. That's right. And that's why we're trying to get it done. The fireworks began early in the interview with Blitzer. Off the bat, asked Pelosi why she wouldn't accept the Republican Party offer. He asked her to look Americans in the eye and explain to them why you don't want to accept the president's latest stimulus offer. I hope you'll ask the same question to the Republicans and why they don't want to meet the needs of the American people, Pelosi responded. Let me say those people because of all my colleagues. We represent those people and their needs are not addressed in the president's proposal. So when you say to me, why don't you accept theirs? Why don't you accept ours? It sounds like a 5-year-old. Blitzer also asked Pelosi why she wouldn't call the president directly to work on the deal. Imagine that. The entire system is set up by the founders for compromise. That way, one side doesn't go too far because they know people in the 1780s, when the Constitution was written, knows, and just as the same rule holds today, people have not changed one iota. People suck, and they will do everything one-sided if you allow it. They knew that. That's why all of these checks and balances are in place. That's why the Supreme Court's a lifetime tenure. Because the politics and the winds of the day and the winds of politics do not have to affect the court. That's why there's two houses. That's why there's a president. It may seem like a lot of obstruction and a lot of gridlock, but gridlock is specifically there to stop from going too far. This is Civics 101. She's the Speaker of the House, the third person in line for the presidency. If something happens to the president and the vice president, she is president of the United States. She doesn't even know how the system works. She just knows, I'll just do it because I told you so. Well, I will not let the wrong be the right enemy of the right, Pelosi answered. What's wrong with 1.8 trillion, Blitzer asked, as he pressed her further. You know what? Do you have any idea what the difference is between the spending that we have in their bill and what we have in our bill? And increasingly frustrated, Pelosi said, with all due respect, you really don't know what you're talking about, she snapped. She talks to everybody like they're little kids and like she's a teacher in grade school. And that's the way she's always been. She's totally out of touch with reality, totally out of touch. And to be honest with you, even if they keep the House, she already made a pledge they only go one term as Speaker. So she's got 3 months left. And we'll see who the new Speaker is. Pelosi added that she does not deal directly with the president, but with one of his representatives, but accused the president of only looking out for the wealthy. Looking out for the wealthy? They're not getting any money, you idiot. It's the people that have to work every day that lost their jobs, that you caused, and all the Democrat governors and county executives and mayors have closed down, ruining these people's lives, and now the Fed's got to bail them out. What makes me amused, if it weren't so sad, is how you all think you know more about the suffering of the American people than those of us who are elected by them to represent them at that table, Pelosi said. I got to tell you, and this is going to be really hard to top, that could be one of the most incredibly arrogant things she's ever said. With her multi-million-dollar mansions, all of them. Not all of them, I shouldn't say that. A lot of them. And her $18, what is it, $18 or $38 a pint of ice cream. She had the Democrats who are criticizing her for not accepting the deal or not negotiating this situation. In other words, mind your own business. I'm the adult here, you're the child, sit down and shut up. They have no idea the particulars. They have no idea what the language is there, she claimed. The on-air spat continued until the dying seconds as both Pelosi and Blitzer attempted to have the last word on the speaker, accusing the TV host of defending the administration all this time. Oh, yeah, CNN. Boy, that's really Trump Central, you idiot. They hate his guts. They've done everything in their power to destroy the guy. Madam Speaker, these are incredibly difficult times right now, and we'll leave on that note, Blitzer said. No, she says, no. We'll leave it on that note that you're not right on this, Wolf. And I hate to say that to you, Pelosi responded. I'm doing a Pelosi voice now. I don't know if it's any good or not. But I feel confident about it, and I will be confident about my colleagues, and I feel confident about my committee chairs. They continued for another minute with neither party willing to give in. It's like an 80-year-old couple that's been married for 60 years arguing. It's really amazing. You know, it reminds me of a little bit the two old guys in the balcony on the Muppet Show. Unbelievable. And then she says sarcastically, well, thank you for your sensitivity to our constituents' needs. After Blitzer told her the bill is about millions of Americans who can't put food on the table, who can't afford to pay the rent, and who are having trouble getting by. Let me try that again. Thank you for your sensitivity on our constituents' needs. Have you fed them? We fed them. She hit back just as the segment was going to the commercial break. What do you mean we fed them? That's the problem. They think they control our lives. You want to get fed? Do what I tell you. You want money? Do what I tell you. The interview faced immediate criticism from Republicans who called on Pelosi again to work towards compromise. I don't know how much longer I can go on with the article, but I'll go on a little bit longer. Nancy has asked a simple question, and she immediately resorts to name-calling, tweeted House Minority Leader Kevin McCarthy. So I'll ask her again, Speaker Pelosi, why not make a deal? Millions of Americans are hurting while you're single-handedly block support for workers and families. So I'll ask her again, Speaker Pelosi, why not make a deal? Millions of Americans are hurting while you single-handedly block support for workers and families. I repeated that. President Donald Trump on Friday offered $1.8 trillion coronavirus relief package and talks with Pelosi after urging his team on Twitter to go big, moving closer to Pelosi's $2.2 trillion. However, the proposal was dismissed by Pelosi as inadequate. I didn't get all I want, so you get nothing. In a weekly letter to Democratic colleagues, she explained that the proposal lacked a, I love this, strategic plan to crush the virus. Here we go. It's all the virus's fault. You can't get stimulus money because of the pandemic because of the virus. This woman, you know, how some of these people made it this far. You talk about the Peter Principle. Some of you younger people look up what Peter Principle means. It's a saying from years ago. It's a famous book. And gave President Trump too much power in deciding how the funds would be spent. This proposal amounted to one step forward, two steps back, Pelosi wrote. Yet the House Speaker's decision drew criticism from some Democrats over the weekend, leaving Pelosi isolated in a refusal to accept the deal. Because I said so. Kana, as noted by Blitzer, wrote on Twitter, people in need can't wait until February. Unbelievable. I won't go through the rest of the article. It's fairly long, but you get the idea. Madam Speaker, Congresswoman Pelosi, Madam Speaker, a word of advice. And this comes directly from the Founding Fathers. Compromise. C-O-M-P-R-O-M-I-S-E. Compromise. Well, that's it for today, folks. Thanks for your attention and your time, and I really appreciate it. And until next time, goodbye and good luck.